galette. How could it be hard to keep your little boobs?
To make this galette, we are going to start with a dough called pâte brisée.
I'm making my dough in, what is this called?
A food processor?
A food processor. Yeah, I'm making my dough in a food processor because I just find it's really quick and easy. If you don't have a food processor, you can use a bowl and a pastry cutter. My grandma even used a fork and 2 forks, and she'd just kind of go back and forth.
Well, thank you for explaining the convenience of modern technology.
Not everybody has
we
one
know
of
that
these.
food processors are convenient.
They are convenient, they're also expensive, and not everybody has one. You're such a schmuck.
Maybe you should tell them how we just got a dishwasher and how everyone should get one because they're really
Yeah, everybody should get one, and we did just get one. The first thing we're gonna do is put in our flour. I have all-purpose flour here. It's 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. Then I'm going to put in 1/4 cup of salt. Oh, did I say 1/4 cup?
Yeah.
1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm gonna pretend because I already did it. Then what I'm going to do is put in 1.5 sticks of very cold butter. I cut my butter in 1/2-inch pieces and then I put them in the freezer. So I'm gonna go get those. It's really important when you're making pastry that everything is ice cold. I'm sure you've heard that a million times. Ice pastry. Dun, 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 dun. The trick that I learned is to not over process your pastry dough if you want it to be light and flaky. So there is a pretty sharp blade in here, and we are actually just going to let this run for 5 seconds. So now that we have that pulse, the butter, the flour, and the salt, what I'm gonna do is take ice cold water. So I actually put ice cubes in here, ice cold. And I'm gonna measure out 1/3 of a cup. And we're gonna pulse it for another 5 seconds. Maybe 6. But that's it. And you'll see they look like little peas in there, and they don't really look like anything, right?
Like nothing.
Like nothing, and you don't want to touch it a lot with your fingers, but if you put it together with your fingers, you'll notice that it comes together. You want a dough that just comes together. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to roll this out between 2 pieces of plastic wrap. That is my trick to roll out any pastry. You can also roll this out on a floured board, but I just find it much, much easier. Easier? I find it much easier. All right, so we have our dough. It's just together. It looks like, oh no, I can't, what am I going to make out of that? A mound of wet sand. I just like to take my plastic wrap and kind of form it a little bit. Work with me. I really like it flaky, so you can do it when you use the saran wrap. I will show you how. This is my grandma's rolling pin. If you
Here's the
look,
Lego head.
yeah, see? Can you see it? Roman shoved that in there.
Yep.
So we're just gonna roll it out. And as you roll it, it will come together more. I'm going to put it on a baking sheet. It's just going to be like an oblong pie. I have a rectangle. That's it. It is rustic, people. Okay? Go to some other channel if you want perfection. I'm going to lift this guy up. It's really easy to lift up because we have the saran wrap on the top and on the bottom. We're just going to chill him in the, it's a he.
What's his name?
What do you think is like the most flaky name?
Brad.
Chet.
No, I know
I wouldn't
Chet.
want to eat it if it were a Chet.
Ew.
How about Pat? And then it'd be a boy or girl.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so Pat. We're gonna put Pat in the refrigerator for 20 minutes. We won't use any pronouns. This is gender neutral dough. Oh, we're gonna preheat our oven at 400 also. And in the meantime, we're gonna slice up our fruit. See you in a minute. All right. One last thing and then we can go watch murder mysteries.
Yay!
Yay! Here's my big bowl of fruit. I can't remember which apples these are. They're crisp.
They're the
There's
red
something
ones.
crisp. No. These are Granny Smith apples. And I like these because they're a little bit tart. And they're great for making pies. And these are our Donju. Anyway, it's a pear. You can use any kind of pear. You can use a Bartlett, you can use a Boss, but we're gonna use 2 pounds of fruit, and we're gonna slice it 1/8 of an inch thick. What's this one called? So I started slicing the apples. I know the names of the apples now. These are Honey Crisps, and they do taste like honey, and they are very crispy, so there. So those are Honey Crisp apples, and then these are Danjou, your mom. They're pears, and so I have 1 pound of apples and 1 pound of pears. You can use any fruit that's in season and use about 2 pounds, depending on how big your gallette's gonna be. So the way that I like to slice this is, once you slice one side down, you always wanna work with a flat surface, and so then you're gonna put the flat side down, and we're gonna cut around the core. You don't have to be so angry when you can do it. Okay, so that's how you do it, and you're left with the core like that.
That's how apples work?
That's how apples work. Now we're gonna slice them 1/8 of an inch thick. Also, on my plate over here, I'm separating my apples from my pears because when I arrange them on my galette, I kind of want to do every other fruit. So no matter what bite you take, you're gonna get a bite of pear and a bite of apple in each bite. All right, so we just took Pat out of the refrigerator.
He's looking extra cool.
Pat's very chill. And so what I like to do is peel off the top layers of plastic wrap. Since it's so firm, it's gonna just be really easy to flip it over. But if it were like floppier, or maybe you didn't chill it, you could use your rolling pin to get it to where you need it to go. I'm just gonna flip it out onto a baking sheet that is lined with parchment paper. You're just gonna peel plastic wrap off. In this bowl, I have some sugar, some flour, and some ground walnuts that I roasted. And I took half of them and ground them, and I'm gonna use the other half as a garnish. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna mix this, and then we're gonna sprinkle this on the base of our galette. I'm gonna leave a perimeter that's like our crust because we're gonna fold all of this over. So there you have it. Now we're gonna take our apple and our pear slices, and we're gonna arrange this, and you can just be as creative as you like. I'm just gonna do every other one. Now we have our beautiful pear and apple galettes all positioned the way that we want it, or the way that I want it. I don't know what you're doing. You're gonna take 1/3 cup of sugar. You're gonna sprinkle that all over the top, okay? We're gonna save about 1 tablespoon of that though. We're gonna fold up this side. I'm gonna use my parchment paper to help me. And we're gonna fold up this side. There, see that? Then you're gonna take that little bit of sugar that we had reserved and sprinkle the crust. And bake that in the oven for about 50 minutes to an hour. Our galette has been in the oven for 55 minutes, and it's nice and golden brown. And we're just gonna do a few more things to it to make it extra special. I like to brush it with apricot jam. I just warmed this up in the microwave. So we're gonna just brush that on our warm fruit. This is gonna make it a beautiful golden amber color and make the fruit shine. And so you could stop here if you want, but we're gonna just do a few extra things. I went to the grocery store today, just look what I found.
Gorgonzola cheese.
Yeah, but who made it?
The Amish did.
Well, how many Italian Amish do you know? Well, this is 4 ounces. I'm not gonna use 4 ounces. I'm gonna use maybe 1 ounce. You can decide how strong tasting you want it to be. I'm just going to sprinkle it kind of evenly so there's just a bite of blue cheese in each bite. Add some of our walnuts, and then we're gonna add a little bit of honey. Just drizzle back and forth. Some balsamic vinegar glaze, so it's a little bit thicker, and I just bought this at the store in a bottle. This is about 1 tablespoon. I'm just gonna drizzle that.
There you have it, my apple and pear galette with toasted walnuts, gorgonzola cheese, honey, and balsamic glaze.
This better fucking pay off.
For this and more recipes that are sure to pay off, visit my website, thenighttimecook.com. And if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share. I make new videos weekly, and I'd love to see you back here real soon. Thanks for stopping by.